Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 4 and episode number 434 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Media Network. Yeah! Today, recording day is Friday, July 26, 2024, Opening Ceremonies Day. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm so excited. I believe 1 p.m. Eastern time on CBC,
Yes.
which I'm unfortunately going to have to watch a little delayed because I promised my Beaver sweetie I would be the +1 at a work function.
Oh, well.
So the dutiful, yes, the dutiful partner. Yes, just, well, that's a. It makes it sound like I'm saying a luncheon, but it's really a potluck in Lake Ontario Park. So, but work related. So I'm going to be the eye candy, the trophy beaver. So yes, I'll have to watch it delayed. But rumor has it, because she has been seen in the city, that Céline Dion is there.
And I heard she's doing a duet with Lady Gaga.
That was the thing. Apparently somebody saw Lady Gaga floating on the Seine on a piano somewhere, right? And apparently they've been seen coming out of both of the same hotel. And Lady Gaga actually does speak some French. She has one parent who is French and one parent who is Italian.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she
Maybe the
says
Italian. I didn't know the French. Though.
Yeah, she says her French is merdique, which is pretty much shitty, but gets better when she has a chance to practice. But that explains, in Bad Romance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the little thing of French there. Blondie used to do that a lot too. Throw some French in her songs.
Does she speak French as well, Blondie?
Well, I mean, she must be. Her pronunciation was pretty good. I mean, she has a whole verse in Sunday Girl, right?
Maybe she was just trying to sound sophisticated. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be.
You know who speaks beautiful French?
Who?
Beautiful Parisian French? Bradley Cooper.
Really? Oh, that I did not know.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I was doing a thing, my former position, where I would, I'd take care of meetings and stuff. And in one of them, they sent me a YouTube video because it was about language and speaking French. And they were saying how in an interview, he was in a Paris talk show, a Parisian talk show, a French talk show in Paris. Let's get that right. And when he started to speak, he said, my French is not that good, but I continue to practice and get better. And they were like, no, your French is really good. We can understand you clearly and you're working at it. So we appreciate your effort. And that's one of the things I've noticed when I've traveled abroad, or, even in Montreal or Quebec City, I'll speak my broken French. And I always get the thank you for the effort. We appreciate it.
Exactly.
Put the effort in. But his French is beautiful. And they had this whole 5-minute clip where he just speaks, and it's It's really good. Like, if you
Mhm.
check it out, you can find Bradley Cooper speaking French. It was something he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And speaking of bilingual, you know who else is a bilingual Hollywood superstar?
There's a lot of them.
But the one that comes to mind that you might be surprised to find out is John
Okay.
Cena.
I am surprised.
Yeah, he speaks Chinese.
That's true.
Yeah, he learned to
That's
speak
true. I've seen
Mandarin.
it.
He learned to speak Mandarin because he discovered that his character, his wrestling character, was very, very popular. So he says, "Well, I'll learn to speak Mandarin then." I'm like, I just like this guy.
Yep, yep, yep. I notice it a lot because watching sports, and particularly tennis, right? Because every tournament's like in a different country, and I guess there's some of them that like speak 6, 7 language, and then they win. They bring the little microphone, and they do the little interview after the match, and it's like I'm sitting there. Whoa, wait a minute, Serena's speaking French?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, she studied fashion in Paris, of course, right? But it's like just like, wait a minute, she's speaking German? Wow, dang.
Doesn't
Good for
Bianca,
you. You go.
doesn't
But
Bianca
it's
speak more than one language as well?
well, probably. I'm guessing so. I mean, I would assume that she speaks some Romanian.
Mhm.
But I don't know if she speaks French as well, and maybe something else. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. Let's finish the intro, right? Because we just
Yeah,
got a little
sorry.
chatty. We're so hey, it's Celine. We're happy. Like a parent, I'll finish the intro. Let's see. Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And with Celine Dion, the other thing I wanted to mention is apparently like they're doing everything to make her super comfortable because of her, her illness. They don't want her to be stressed in any way, so like they
No.
ran on a jet, and she's got like the poshest hotel room with all the things. She was at the Louvre the other day, and, right, and you got pictures of her and, out there and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, she's getting paid $2 million.
I heard that. Yeah.
So, not bad. But it will be her first time performing, I think, since spring of 2022 in public. So
2 years, really.
yeah,
Wow.
really, it's been a thing, and apparently she has like to try and stave off whatever it is. She has a rather grueling workout regimen, so it's in order to get, I guess the motion is lotion type thing. So yeah, because apparently this thing that she's got apparently can make your muscles seize, and it can make them
Apparently.
seize so hard it can actually snap your bones.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah. So the exercise regimen to keep everything strong and whatnot to be able to resist the spasms is really, really important. So anyway, but hey, Céline, we might get some Céline. So I'm very happy. And I watched the soccer match yesterday too, and all that kind of stuff. So and afterwards there was a documentary on what the opening ceremonies was going to sort of what went into it and how much it took. And they got this theater producer, who I guess who's like the wonder kid in France right now. Apparently, he had designed an 18-hour show or something at one point.
I don't watch I don't watch the news because I'm a kid, and apparently Grandpa just gives me a remote after we watch the Powerball.
Sorry, you said apparently about 6 times this morning.
Yes.
I couldn't resist.
All right.
Sorry, I'm in a fun mood this morning.
So yeah, all that stuff is happening. We'll get back to some more Olympic stuff because there was some drama. But before we do that, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today?
Pretty darn good.
Yes,
Pretty
yeah,
darn
in your
good. Yeah, I'm feeling really good today. I didn't have the best sleep, but with the medication I'm on, you don't sleep great to begin with. But the fact that I woke up at 5:15 a.m. to a giant 85-pound dog sitting on my chest, licking my face. I'm like, Lola, please don't lick my face. Pushed her off. I said, no, we have to rest a little longer. So she immediately lies down and cuddles with me. She puts her head on my chest and falls asleep for about 10 minutes, and then wakes up, and I'm like, no, not yet. No, not yet, until the alarm goes off at 6, and then we get up and I take her out. So yeah, I had a nice walk, and it's beautiful sunrise this morning. I think it's going to be hot today. Yesterday was kind of chilly. It was 19 and overcast.
Mhm.
I was out in shorts and a t-shirt for a bit with Lola for a walk, and I'm like, I got to go put a sweater on. And I went out and met with a couple of friends last night for 2 pints of lager, literally 2 pints of lager. And I had a sweater and long pants and shoes on last night, which was disappointing because basically once summer gets here, unless I'm hiking, I don't want to wear anything but flip-flops. Outside of work, that is,
Yes.
outside of work. It's flip-flops weather, but it was not flip-flops weather yesterday. It was kind of chilly. So
Mhm.
it was a great day for a dark English bitter lager, if you will, because when it's cool and overcast, it's kind of a stout day, right?
Yeah.
But like on a hot day, you don't have a stout, you don't have a bitter. It does not sit well. It doesn't taste well. It doesn't sit well in your stomach. It disagrees with your body. Hot weather beers are like pilsners or light lagers or maybe even, and I know somebody might get offended for me saying this, something like a Michelob Ultra or a Coors Light or a Bud Light even. They're actually crisp and refreshing on a super hot day. And on the golf course, I don't want an IPA. I don't want a heavy beer. I want literally a Michelob Ultra or a Coors Light or a Bud Light or something like that. A light, pretty close to water tasting beer. Because we drink a lot of water on the golf course, but after a while, it's like I just want something else.
Right, indeed. So yeah, it was a little cool. I had the cast party last night for the play I was in for the one act. So we were out at Kelsey's and had a lovely evening with friends. So that was nice. But yeah, on the way back too, I was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and it's like, it was around 8:30, and I was coming back, and I was like, that's a. I think it was like, it was probably below 20. So at some point yesterday, I think it's 15 right now where I am. So it's still a little cool this morning. But hey, I will take 23, 24, 25 rather than 36 anytime. Thank you so much.
I like 36 though. I do. With humidity though.
Yeah.
It's and then I had a conversation with a couple of gents about that last. That's me.
Yeah.
About
Alex
that
is
last
like
night.
that too. He loves it.
Well, I said, I noticed that when I was in Calgary and when I was in Jasper, especially, it was 34 degrees, and in Jasper it was about 12% humidity, 34 degrees. And what happens is in that weather, you're out in the sun. Wow, it's really hot, but you're not hydrating as much because the sweat evaporates from your body so quickly because there's no humidity. So you're not drinking as much. So you get dehydrated very, very quickly. Whereas here, when you realize you're dripping with sweat because of the humidity and the sweat's not evaporating, you tend to hydrate more frequently. And I did notice that when we were at a metric concert at Stampede, there was a group of young people in front of me, and I looked at this young guy and I'm like, you need to drink. And he was like he was ready to pass. And there were people passing out around us to the point where there was a guy up in a scissor lift above the crowd spotting for trouble, and he was literally pointing out and calling rescue people in to get people hydrated and get some fluids into their bodies because, and again, Calgarians are not used to this kind of weather. They just aren't. They just aren't. So it takes a toll. But I do have something really positive I want to share real quick. It's like a super fast thing.
Okay.
It's you're going to like this. Trust me. It has to do with Jasper, and you've been to Jasper, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes.
So Jasper the bear is still intact.
Oh.
Yeah. Despite something like 30 to 50% of the town is gone, Jasper the bear is still there, which I know is it's a silly little thing, but it's made a lot of people, I won't say happy, but it's kind of
it's a
lifted it
moment
up.
of sunshine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a moment of sunshine.
Because there's been so much badness. It's like,
Yes.
Jasper the bear is still there. It's kind of like a shining beacon of hope, if you will.
Yeah. It's, you know what? In tough times, whatever you need to get by, right?
Yep.
And if seeing, especially if you're from there, like as a Jasper the bear clearly is a symbol of the town, recognized,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's one of those things. Okay, we're still standing. We're still, right? So, and it seems the other good news is that most of the critical infrastructure, schools, hospitals, all that kind of stuff has been protected and saved.
I've heard the train station burnt, though.
Yes. Yeah. So it will make it, there are things that have been pretty adversely affected, but, at least there's that. There's a quote of someone, and I can't remember. I don't think they identified who it was in the news. but it was said, I'm absolutely devastated, like it's gone. I don't think anyone will be returning to Jasper anytime soon, and life is not going to be anywhere near what it was. It's really the end of an era. So I think it was just a citizen that was unidentified that said that, but that quote had stuck with me. Basically, officials said that there was basically a terrifying wall of fire about 100 meters in the air, burning over several kilometers in a matter of minutes. So, yeah, that's pretty something. As Mr. Grizzly says, 30 to 50% of the town of Jasper may have been destroyed by the raging wildfire. Sam Sampson from the CBC reports that there are some parts of Jasper that show nothing but charred remains, incinerated black and gray masses of what used to be businesses. There was somebody I heard in an interview as they were driving away, they were talking about the ash that was falling, and it was falling on people, but it was still hot, right? Because it didn't have to cool. So can you imagine sort of like lots and lots of snow falling from the sky, except instead of being cold and wet, it's hot and it hurts. So I just can't imagine this. I mean, we see the pictures and stuff, but I can't. Oh my God. There was a water tanker that helped refuel firefighter trucks. They were able to save a few buildings and the campground at first, and then that was on Wednesday, and then the winds changed, which shifted the fires around the town, and that brought basically doomsday conditions. There's two people that used to work that worked for, I guess, Parks Canada, that have reported having to hide in a cinder block refuge that are built in these parks for things like this, to wait for the fire to go over. And while they were in there for about 3 hours as the fire moved, they could hear all the fuel tanks, propane tanks all around them just going boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
While they're, that must be one hell of an experience. I can't.
Not one I want to experience.
No, not at all. And you don't know what the basic one of them said. The quote here is, God knows what's happening behind the scenes, and all I could hear was kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. After almost 3 hours, the fires passed. Daniel Smith gave a
crocodile tears. I didn't actually see any tears.
Yeah.
I might be being a bit of an a-hole on that, but
I was a bit of a a-hole too when I heard about it. I've seen it. Listen, I believe there can be mixed things. Danielle Smith is from there. She says, she's been there a lot. It can be emotional, but with things that we are finding out, or that we knew when we look at all the cuts to the programs, and then the fire map from July 9th. And then we see what she was doing between July 9th and whatnot. She's at the opening of this thing and doing an interview with Jordan Peterson and whatnot. And then she didn't really call for federal help until...
Well, and didn't she, now the rumor, I have not been able to find the quote, but a lot of the rumor of what I'm reading online is she was telling people not to listen to the mayor because the mayor was spreading disinformation.
I did not hear that.
I've heard that. I have not seen the quote, but this is the rumor.
For me, this is like completely new information. I haven't seen it anywhere.
I've read it a number of times, but I've not seen the actual quote. So whether or not that's true, I don't know. But apparently, she said not to evacuate the town, and he's spreading misinformation, and it's not as bad as all that. Apparently.
Well, let's put it this way: if she did say that, her behavior leading up to the moment where she finally decided to pick up a phone and ask for some federal help. Seems to indicate that that's what she probably believed.
Yeah.
Okay. There's pictures of her at the inauguration of some building somewhere, and just it does not seem with the fire map the way that it was, and what we do know about climate change. It doesn't seem that there was looking at. Let's put it this way: if I was premier and I had seen that map on the 9th, I'd be, holy crap!
Mm-hmm.
Like something's going to go spark, boom, somewhere over the next couple weeks if this is this dry. Maybe I should get some resources here already.
You think?
Right.
Instead, she was doing an interview with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. So, and a little distracted maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a couple of weeks ago that David Parker put out that cryptic tweet, said something's coming. Then the next day, we found out the news about the box suite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a leadership review coming, and he is trying to get her out. And all of a sudden, all this bad news is coming about, like I said, she definitely has to come up with some type of PR response to the box suite thing. So maybe she was a little distracted. And distracted by wanting to keep her job and not wanting bad news to come out. This situation certainly did not have her full attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure, based on what we're seeing. But yes, she will play it. She did cry, or was the way it's being described is not so much cry, but overcome with emotion, which clearly she seems to be. And my first thought, however, was, yeah, because your job's over. She should be done.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
There were way too many mistakes and and things that were not done. And if it does come out that she actually did say that, and but yeah, her political career. If these were normal times, her political career should be over. Like, she's not surviving that leadership review.
I certainly don't think so. Well, I mean, here, let me show you something that this is from, this is a quick screen cap, if you will, from Clay Thompson. No tears, no responsibility, incompetent, fake. You draw your own conclusion.
Yeah. See, now the camera angle that we have is a little further away because there were like 4 other people there from the response units to give there. So there was like a wide shot. So there were no close-ups, at least from the CPAC. Maybe there was other pool cameras there that have a better angle. But the one that I looked at was CPAC. So you can't really tell. But yeah. I mean, it could be, like I said, I don't trust her further than I can throw her. And I know she is super, 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 super media savvy.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to believe that somewhere deep in there is something genuine, that she actually does feel some type of emotion, that such a landmark and a beautiful symbol of the province that I hope she loves. I'm not going to, even though she's doing terrible things to it, I don't want to villainize her like she hates Alberta and whatnot. But we also have this damn narrative, like what's the whole box suite thing? It's like, wait a minute, I couldn't go to the hockey. I wanted to go to the hockey classic, but I could only sit in the private box for 20 minutes. So I didn't go at all. And then I went to the ethics commissioner. I said, I would like to do that. It says, you can't do that. So I fired them and I replaced it with an ethics commissioner that said, yes, you can do that. And then I changed the rules. And now here you see me in a box suite. It says, well, everything complies with the rules. Yeah, because you changed the rules. So at first I was thinking, right, when David Dingwall back in the day said, I'm entitled to my entitlements, when he expensed like a pack, I think, of like gum or something, like got his per diems or whatnot. And that's what got him. It's always the small things, right? It's like with Bev Oda, we remember the $16 glass of orange juice, but there was also the limos and then upgrading the hotel to the Savoy at the last minute so she could get a smoking room so that she could smoke inside and all that kind of stuff. So everybody's like, oh, she was fired for. No, it wasn't just a $16 orange juice. It's just that we remember $16 orange juice because everybody can understand that.
Well, and his
charging a $1 something pack of gum, everybody can understand that.
his smug statement of, I'm entitled to my entitlements. Yeah, you are, but you don't
Just
do
because you
that.
can doesn't mean you should.
Well, not to mention the fact that he was just such a smug prick about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. I mean, he was the head of the mint at the time too, which is
But I'm entitled to my entitlements.
Yes, and I mean, yes, as a point of principle, but
Yeah,
come
you
on,
are.
man.
Come on.
There's an expression in French: "Pouce mais pouce égal." Push equal if you're gonna,
Yeah.
push even or something. So in this case, it's like for she so wanted a box suite
Mhm.
that she changed the law. This is not I'm entitled to my entitlements. This is I'm entitled to what I think
Yes.
I am entitled to, and we'll change the law to make sure that I get my entitlements.
Yes.
We are so far off from I'm entitled to my entitlements.
This is way beyond that.
Way beyond that.
This is I'm changing the rules so I can get exactly what I want. And if anybody
And then she goes in
questions-
front of the mic and says, "But everything complied with the rules."
Yeah, the rules that I changed so that they would work within me to my favor. So if anybody questions her integrity, no, that's not even the word I want to use here. I don't know. Her honesty, her emotional clarity, if you will.
Forthrightness.
Look at this from our friend Nate at the breakdown. Daniel Smith, who only moments earlier was overcome with emotion at the tragedy unfolding in Jasper, was asked about the delay in emergency payments. Her response, in effect, they can wait a bit. That's what private insurance is for. Because feelings. And I have the clip. Do you want me to show the clip?
Well, we could. I think maybe the clip is. No, I think that one is the full clip because I had it too. I just sent you the thing, but yeah, we can do that.
We'll just run the clip.
After the 2016 wildfire in Fort McMurray, Alberta announced evacuees would get emergency financial relief 2 days after the evacuation. Jasper has seen similar destruction to Fort McMurray. Actually, if we're talking percentage-wise, Jasper lost a greater percentage of the town. So why not just authorize those payments now? I mean, does anyone here really believe this evacuation will last fewer than 7 days?
One of the decisions that we made in previous emergencies is that we would wait for 7 days because there's oftentimes you can return within a shorter period of time. As has happened, we have had evacuations already this fire season, which started early, and we have been able to get people back home within 7 days. There is a Treasury Board process that we have to go through in order to be able to accelerate or expedite that. And so we'll be meeting as an emergency management committee each day, gauging it. But the main thing that people need right now is to have the immediate support. So the support of the hotels, the food, the emergency evacuation, that's part of the reason why we wait until 7 days, because we know that we have a lot of support that we're able to give as people are figuring out where they're going to go, find out whether they're going to be able to return home, find out whether their home is going to survive. We'll gauge it. We'll listen to feedback about how people are feeling. But we know that this is going to be, for many people, a long-term period of time that they will be out. We'll have to obviously work with their insurance companies to ensure as well that they're able to get the support payments through insurance so that they can be supported that way also. But we do want to do whatever we can to be supportive.
No. Totally tone deaf. Like, yeah, there are situations where the fire's approaching and you evacuate and it's 2-3 days and then they come back. This is clearly not that.
No.
This is clearly not that. She's even saying it. There are people that will be away more like, it's clearly not that. You say that there's a mechanism that you can make that go forward. What I don't hear you saying is, I realize that people will be back in 7 days and we do have a mechanism to make it go forward a little faster than 7 days in exceptional circumstances, and we're going to activate that. I didn't hear that.
No.
I think there was someone from the NDP that put out something, says, when they had the fires, when we were there, we had checks out in the first 24, 48 hours or something.
Yeah. We want to wait 7 days.
Newfoundland just did it. Churchill, the Labrador City one.
Yep.
$1,000 to every household.
Boom, right away. That will get you fed. That will get you shelter. That will get you clothing. Because if you left in a heartbeat, probably just have the clothes on your back. She wants to wait 7 days. Meanwhile, people are going, I've been in the same underwear for 3.
And she's saying like this, the hotels, was she expecting that the hotels are going to provide them with free lodging for the first 7 days?
That's not going to happen. They might give them 24 or 48 hours, but after that, you got to pay. They're a business. Unless the province starts paying the bills.
But
People
the
are gonna
province
be
has it.
stuck
But
with it.
that's what I'm saying. It's like if
Yeah.
the hotels are going to take something, says like hotels just take the people in, and we'll settle it after, like we did with the pandemic. We'll just give you the money, and if everybody's overpaid, we'll fix it later. Right? That's one thing. But I didn't hear that either.
No, we're going to wait 7 days. What a heartless.
Gonna work with their insurance companies to make sure they get their. What about those who don't have insurance? Not everybody that lives in an apartment. Most people that live in a house do have house insurance, but not everybody that lives in an apartment has apartment insurance.
Correct. And let's not forget, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's not forget that in Jasper, a lot of the individuals who work in that town are from other parts of the world. Australia, New Zealand, UK. I met a woman there from Czechia, working in the service industry in Jasper. These are, you got a lot of people that work there that stay in, that will rent an apartment for 6-8 months a year and then move on because they're transient. So now they have nowhere to stay and probably very little money because many of them are working travelers, and let's face it, it's a beautiful part of the world to stay and live and work in for a couple of years or a year as you're a young person and trying to, see and explore and discover who you are. I'd highly recommend people do that.
Mm-hmm. Now, for that
but what do those folks do? Because the service industry folks might not have a lot of savings, especially if you've come here from another country and you're relying upon tips and now you've got no income.
Yeah. For that group, it seems logistically, what people are saying, they're actually easier to rehouse.
Oh, okay.
Because if people have places, they're easier to take in because they're single and don't have families and whatnot, or often like because, in the resorts and whatnot, they get to know each other and they form little families of their own.
Right,
They'll go and they'll split something like, X number of people together or whatnot. So apparently, in a situation like this, though, we see it like at students at university, right? And it's like, oh man, how many people are living in that house? 8 of you? How do any of you find time to study? Mm-hmm. It's like with all the coming in and the noise. Like I never did that thing, when I was in university, I would go live in a house with like 9 other people, so
I did that
to keep my rent down.
I did that.
No, I didn't.
But I didn't go to college until 1998 or 99.
So but I didn't have that experience, but that in that group. So apparently, though they're in this case, they have less resources. That's true, but apparently they're easier to rehouse than let's say a family of 3 or 4. It's like
but I don't think they can wait 7 days for money.
No, nobody can in this case.
No,
nobody can in this case. So yeah. Now I would like to play the beginning of it, but there's also Steve Boots, which highly recommended account, by the way, at Steve_Boots. Quote, I'm guessing that this is from either from the press conference or just general comment, because I can't tell. Quote, now is not the time to talk about the underlying causes and decision-making that led to the catastrophe in Jasper. Yeah, it is. There's no better time. Let the images of the devastation sear into your mind and drive you to action. Get mad. All right. Let's play this. We'll play the first the 5 minutes, the statement for Danielle Smith, and then I guess you'll judge for yourself whether or not the emotion is real or the emotion is not real, or maybe just partially, or maybe it's just all of the realization at the same time. Because again, I know we are so damn polarized, but I hope, while we're watching an example in the United States of somebody with 34 felony convictions,
right,
and deemed rapist in civil court and whatnot, still seeming to get a free pass somehow, I hope that in Canada we are still not so polarized that a premier making a long series of terrible decisions that can directly be traced back and attributed to the destruction, 30 to 50% of not only a provincial symbol, but a national symbol.
A World UNESCO Heritage Site.
Does not result in her losing her job once the immediate crisis is over.
Now, let's be fair, okay? Let's be fair. She cut the budget by 30 million. She cut the RAP attacks, and she cut 30 positions from wildfire tower observations to save money. She did all that. Rachel Notley before her also cut the budget.
Yeah, about 15 million or something.
Yeah, we need to make that statement. It's not just Daniel Smith who cut. The previous government did too.
Yes.
Well, Jason Kenney cut. So Notley cut, Kenney cut, she cut even more.
Well,
so everybody is to blame for this.
But the thing is specifically, if we're talking about her, when she got there, if there were already a whole bunch of cuts, and the temperature on the globe has gone up since, I mean, they've just reported that there's like 2 days just this past week that have been the hottest days on the planet ever.
Yes. This past Sunday and Monday.
Yes. And then she gets the map and sees how dry it is.
Yeah, and does nothing.
Like, come on, man.
And you know what the firefighters getting, the wildfire fighters are getting? You know what they get paid?
Not much.
$22 an hour. No benefits, no medical, no nothing.
To face a 100-foot wall of fire.
Now they're like, well, they get housed and clothed. You're damn right they should get housed and clothed. My God, they're putting their lives at risk. They don't have respirators. They don't have the equipment that the firefighters, wildfire fighters that are hired from all over the world. I mean, there's some of them that come in that have all their own equipment, right? But
and then when you talk about the respirators, when you think about the fires, when it's so hot that each house's heating system and business propane tanks whatnot go boom, 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 boom. That's chemicals. That's not just wood.
No, that's just it. It's not just smoke from wood. It's tires. It's all kinds of stuff that's burning. And they don't have the respirators they need. So they're the ones to get pulled out first.
That's why they were being evacuated to Hinton.
Yes. Because they're not safe. It's like, yeah, you can fight a fire, but you're not safe right now to fight this fire. So let's have a look at what she had to say. And you draw your own conclusions. Well, she starts to mumble, I'm going to grab a coffee. And let's have a look at this.
Good morning, everyone. In the last day or so, we have all seen on the news and social media the horrific pictures and videos coming out of Jasper. Homes and businesses have been lost to a wildfire that people are calling a wall of flames. There is no denying that this is the worst nightmare for any community. To the residents of Jasper and those displaced far from home looking at the images of your town on TV and online, the feelings of loss and fear and loneliness must be overwhelming. But you are not alone. All Albertans are with you. For many generations, the town of Jasper and the parks surrounding it have been a source of pride. With some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. Our grandparents visited to experience the majesty of this place with its mountains and lakes and meadows. They took our parents, who then took us to this special spot that they'd spent time in as children. And now we take our own kids and our own loved ones and visitors from around the world to feel that same feeling that you get with your first glimpse of the mountains on the horizon. A feeling that Even though you've just left home, you're coming home. And so although those of us who experience Jasper as visitors can't imagine what it feels like to be a Jasperite right now, we share the sense of loss with all of those who live in the town, who care for it, and who have helped build it. Jasper, we will continue to stand by you, and as everyone works to get their feet back under them, and as we look forward to recovery. Right now, the wildfire is still out of control, and crews are working in dangerous conditions to try and protect critical infrastructure in the town. So to the brave men and women currently on the ground in Jasper, I want to express my deep gratitude and the gratitude of all Albertans. Whether you are part of the initial efforts or whether you were activated and drove in there last night or early this morning, there really are not enough words to express our thanks and our wishes for your safety and your success. Once again, you've put yourselves on the front lines in a show of true heroism. Thank you for your bravery and your commitment to keeping Albertans safe. Well, I will leave the specific details on the situation and the efforts of those fighting it to Ministers Todd Lowen and Minister Mike Ellis, as well as to our Alberta wildfire officials here with us today, Stephen Lacroix from the Emergency Management Agency and Christy Tucker from Forest. Let me assure you that Alberta is doing all that we can. Our Emergency Management Cabinet Committee meeting has been meeting daily for the last several days, and will continue to do so. I have been in communication with the Federal Minister of Public Safety, Dominic LeBlanc. He's the Minister of Public Safety, Democratic Institutions and Intergovernmental Affairs. The Alberta Emergency Management Agency, Jasper Mayor Richard Ireland, and many others. I understand that Minister LeBlanc is being briefed as we speak, and I look forward to meeting with Minister Harjit Sajjan here in Edmonton later this afternoon, where he will join us at our command centre. Alberta stands ready to assist in every way that we can, and I have asked Minister LeBlanc to move to a unified command structure so that Alberta can better help. We hope to hear a positive response from Parks Canada on this, and in the meantime, we will continue to provide any and all support that they request in any way that we can. I can tell you that Alberta Wildfire supported the Parks Canada Incident Management Team yesterday. They report that the situation on the ground overnight was extremely volatile. As we continue to battle the fire, our government will move to daily updates with Ministers Lowen and Ellis, as well as Alberta wildfire officials. And we will continue with our daily written updates as well. To the residents, families, and business owners who call Jasper home, we will recover from this. To the men and women on the front line and at all operational levels, thank you for your courage and commitment. And to those in Alberta and around the world who have experienced the magic of Jasper, the magic is not lost and it never will be. Alberta's government will provide the support needed to families and community to recover and to rebuild stronger than ever so that future generations can continue to experience this one-of-a-kind community and to feel the magic of being able to come home. Now, thank you, and I'll turn it over to Minister Ellis.
All right. So that's what I'm saying. And I think, was it Kit? You had put it up, Mr. Grizzly here. The quote from Kit, T. Wigmore. She may have something deeply personal and authentic, not willing to quite throw her under the political opportunist's bus, despite her historical record of inaction and negligence. And see, that's the same thing here. I'm not willing to completely. Yes. Mm-hmm. So but let's say humans are complex and nuanced. I can believe in mixed emotions. I can believe at the same time that she might actually have some genuine, authentic emotion because of the thing, but she's still thinking, shit, I'm screwed.
She's still trying to save her own ass.
Right? Both can be happening simultaneously in this case. Mm-hmm. She's talking about this, and I just want to say, like I mentioned the other day, you're going to, usually when you're in trouble, because you always thank the volunteers and the staff and do that. But when you're in trouble like this, you spend a lot of time talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So watch out for that. You're going to wrap yourself up in the, because these types of moments, they're moments that give you an opportunity for statesmanship, right? You're standing there, you've got the other people, you've got the bomber jacket with the, the thing, you bring out your gravitas or your emotion to try to connect with it. These moments, even though, like, I'm trying to think, I think it was like Governor Chris Christie with Hurricane Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Naheed Nenshi, when they had the floods. Because,
Yes.
there are moments that, even though they are tragedies and something is happening, for a politician, it is an opportunity to show genuine leadership and statesmanship and the ability to make things nonpartisan and the ability to actually connect with people. Right. And I don't want you to be cynical. It's just how the game is played. It's like no matter what situation is going on, there's always a core group of people somewhere around that table that strictly has the calculators. And are thinking about the opera. It's like, this is terrible. Like this. Yes, we need to address it. Yes, absolutely. Save the people and whatnot. Even if you had the best intentions, right? Your government, save the people, do everything like this. But it's like, but we need to be seen doing it. We need to be seen looking good doing it. Like there's always going to be that's always going to be a consideration there.
Well, and again, I don't know. Maybe that was a genuine emotion from her. We don't know.
Well, that's.
But Chris Young's comment here, that's why the emotion. This is the moment where she realized she screwed up.
And it could be a third thing as well, right? It's like, I'm screwed. My political career is over. Oh my God, this beautiful place where I had these beautiful memories with my family. Look what happened.
It could be a combination. And
like,
yeah.
And I know it's my fault. Sometimes when that hits you, that can send you reeling. She said, in that thing, we'll always be there. We'll be there for you, people of Jasper. And then later on, as we showed the clip that Mr. Grizzly showed, except if you need some money.
Then you're on your own.
For the next 7 days. Then you're on your own. But we're with you. And, all the work of those firefighters, the brave work and whatnot, while, as Mr. Grizzly said, they're being paid $22 an hour. Pay them.
Pay them more. Give them the support.
You're grateful? Show them.
Yeah.
Pay them. Buy them the respirators. Get them the equipment.
$22
Get them the repellers back.
$22 an hour should be minimum wage in many parts of this country because that is the minimum you need to survive on. $22 an hour to put your life at risk.
And all the technical expertise that goes into pay people for their expertise and their knowledge.
Well, and now many of these folks that are fighting these wildfires have like a few weeks training and they go in to do it, but that's irrelevant. They're putting their lives on the line.
The people are coordinating, though, know
yes,
which way you go in, which fire break, all that type of stuff. You got to pay people for their expertise. And you know what? Bring back the repellers and the observers, because there have been some interviews with them and they're saying, yeah, if they had been there, whatnot, and doing the tours, whatnot, we could have seen those fires when they were smaller. Maybe I put them out before.
If you hadn't closed, what was it, 30 watchtower positions?
Yeah.
Just eliminated them. Well, we can save some money here. You're about to spend billions in rebuilding.
Yeah. And now we're talking about all the things she didn't do. There's yet more layers. There's an account here, Audric Moses, at Audric Moses. How do I remember that? Oh, when we're at the club, the DJ. Now we're going to go back into time to January 31st, 2024. And Audric Moses says, the Alberta fire chiefs knew this season was going to be bad, and they asked the Alberta government for urgent help in January. They eventually got a few scraps, but it's painfully obvious that it was too little, too late. And that's why you're going to hear a lot of people say like this, well, they increased the budget 50%. Yeah. After a whole bunch of cuts. And maybe that wasn't what was asked for.
If I start with $5 million and I cut it down to 2.5, then I cut it down to 2, then I cut it down to 1.5, then I cut it down to 1 and increase it by 50%. It's now $2 million. I still have less than what I started with. Pretty simple math.
Open letter to the members of Government Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta, January 31st, 2024. Significant concern over impending wildfire season. Dear Honourable Members of the Alberta Government, with the current dry winter Alberta is experiencing, the Alberta Fire Chiefs Association expresses significant concern regarding the potential for a wildfire season mirroring last year's devastating events. Alberta has faced an unprecedented wildfire season in 2023 with over 2.5 million hectares of land burned. These wildfires are occurring with greater frequency, intensity, and duration across more expansive areas than in the past. In light of these concerns and environmental projection models, the AFCA is urgently calling for disclosure of the province's wildfire preparedness strategy. Combating last year's wildfire season in Alberta brought forth considerable challenges, highlighting the critical need for a comprehensive and proactive approach to wildfire management. The AFCA has met with key ministries, presenting specific asks including additional resources, increased training capacity, equipment, aerials, and requesting for the establishment of a Provincial Fire Services Advisory Committee to assist in developing a dedicated provincial strategy to better manage and mitigate the risks associated with wildfire seasons. The AFCA emphasized with government that reliance on municipalities to financially backstop wildland fire response is not sustainable. With or without federal funding, the AFCA is inquiring about the allocation of additional resources towards wildfire management. There is a growing concern among fire chiefs across the province of the lack of communication of what the plan is, allocation of funds compared to previous years, and plan for the recruitment and deployment of firefighters and equipment. The AFCA emphasized the urgency of addressing these concerns before the onset of the wildfire season. It is imperative to have a clear, well-resourced, and collaborative strategy that involves all levels of government to effectively manage and mitigate the risks of wildfire in Alberta. We remain committed to working alongside provincial authorities, municipalities, and federal agencies to safeguard our communities. We eagerly await a detailed response and action plan that addresses these critical concerns. Chief Randy Schroeder, President, Alberta Fire Chiefs Association. That was in January.
Wow.
They were calling for it. We're in July, and it
Yeah.
doesn't seem that much was done. There were certain things that were done, but it doesn't seem that much was done. And then Audrica ends the tweet with, how's that $4 billion surplus, Danny?
Mm-hmm.
So she's also sitting on a $4 billion surplus. There was a line in this one here. When she says, Chief Schroeder says, there's a growing concern among fire chiefs across the province of the lack of communication of what the plan is, allocation of funds compared to previous years, and plan for the recruitment and deployment of firefighters and equipment. And that one is particularly important because it seems, because of the low salaries and all that kind of stuff, that some of the firefighters that had been established in the province since the cut started, well, they went to other provinces for better work and better job conditions, so they're not there.
Yep.
So the turnover, I think it was yesterday, I think I was reading something like this. There was one guy that had an incoming group where or the people that were on the ground, most of them were like first year,
Mm-hmm.
or 3 years or less experience. People need to eat. If you're not going to pay the people that you depend on when things go boom enough, when things are not going boom, they go to places where they can get paid enough to eat when things go boom. But it's almost like, Albert, like, how do you put it? And this is going to sound pretty bad, but we just talk about Dominic Blah, and we're going to have a unified fire. So now, one of the things that's going around is like, well, it's a national park, so the federal government should have been fighting the fire. You guys screwed it up. No, there are some fire related and service people from Parks Canada there, right? But they're not the ones that have like all the bombers. Again, there's maybe even some equipment, whatnot, that gets put there. But it's Alberta Wildfire Services.
Correct.
It's a national park, but it's still in Alberta. It's a shared responsibility, of course. They work together, as she mentioned, right? The municipality and the fire crews within Parks Canada have been working together, right? So it's her piece of the puzzle, right? That's not clicking.
No.
There. Now, with all of that happening, there's another tiny little bit of news that came up. Oh, wait a minute. well, wait a minute. But the fire chief thing gets better.
Oh,
Oh, yes. Because February 20th, 2024, so 20 days later, the Alberta Fire Chiefs Association responded to Minister Lowen's media statement of February 20th. The Alberta Fire Chiefs Association Board of Directors, following a board meeting on February 21st, 2024, wishes to reserve further comments until the provincial budget is presented. For the interim, we offer this statement. We are encouraged with Minister Lowen's announcement regarding the government's plan to enhance wildfire prevention measures and increase the capacity for fighting wildfires, acknowledging the anticipation of another challenging year for Alberta in terms of wildfire activity. The AFCA particularly is encouraged by Minister Lowen's commitment to further collaboration with our association and eagerly anticipates the dialogue to advance our shared objectives. Now, this is the part that Audric Moses highlights coming up. While we share the minister's aspirations, the absence of a specific financial commitment in the minister's statement raises concerns about the adequacy of funding for these essential wildfire preparedness and response initiatives. While we understand the budgetary process's constraints, transparent and timely communication regarding funding allocations will be crucial for strategic planning and effective implementation of these measures. The AFCA underscores the importance of cross-ministerial cooperation, as highlighted by the involvement of multiple ministries, including municipal affairs, forestry and parks, public safety, and emergency services. We advocate for the establishment of a multi-ministry provincial fire service advisory committee to foster a holistic and coordinated approach to wildfire management and emergency services in Alberta. We are pleased to hear the minister's commitment to improve and enhance the Fire Smart program and its potential to mitigate wildfire risks. However, we express concern over the lack of specifics regarding the extent of support and resources that will be allocated to this critical initiative. Compared to similar programs in other provinces, Alberta's Fire Smart program requires significant expansion and resource allocation to meet the province's unique needs effectively. Finally, Minister Lowen's announcement of 900 wildfire fighters by April 15th is a step in the right direction. However, we are apprehensive that this may not suffice or be soon enough. In the event of a major fire threatening a community outside the fostered protected area, it leaves it up to the municipality solely to seek out and carry the financial burden of additional contractors or pulling resources from neighboring municipalities, which jeopardizes the assisting community's ability to be ready for their own emergency events. The FCA remains dedicated to working alongside the government and our partners to enhance Alberta's wildfire preparedness and response capabilities, ensuring the safety and well-being of all Albertans. Alberta Fire Chiefs Association Board of Directors. So, yeah.
well,
So basically, Lowen said stuff like, we will do whatever is necessary to help Albertans and their communities stay safe from the impacts of wildfire, except present a plan and budget details. I want to encourage Albertans to remain vigilant and recreate responsibly, because that's literally the least we can do. And we're going to be more proactive on fire bans than we were last year. I think we're going to be more prepared than we were last year. Well, you weren't.
mm-hmm.
So,
Not even close.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. But the interesting thing that happened yesterday is one of the reasons that there is a leadership review coming for Danielle Smith is that, well, she made some financial promises to the residents of Alberta. One of them is that I believe I see it was a electricity holiday or fee or rebate or something like that was supposed to get. And then she got into office, and then after X number of months, she said, "Oh, did I say that was a rebate? No, it was a deferral."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I meant
That thing
say
that
this.
you thought that you weren't paying the last 6 or 7 months. No, you still have to pay it. We were just delaying it, not saying. Oh, none of you were clear on that?
Oh, did I?
Oh, I could have
Did I
sworn I
miss
mentioned
it?
something about that.
Mm.
And then there was that whole tax cut thing that she was running on. And, there was this affordability crisis. And then she got there and says, "Oh, no, we can't afford to give you that tax cut right now because we Whoa, yes, I suddenly remembered that the Alberta Heritage Savings Trust exists, and we need to put some money in that. Well, yesterday, in the Calgary Herald, by Rick Bell, enough said, published July 25th. Headline: Danielle Smith vows delayed tax cut for Albertans is now coming. Just let that sink in for a bit. No. We can't give you that tax cut that I ran on because we need to save money. We got to put money in the shares. Oh, wait a minute. There's a huge wildfire and there's a whole bunch of things I could have done along the way to make it not so bad. Ooh, Jasper, is gone. Hey, guys, that tax cut, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen a more is ham-fisted the word? Is attempt at changing the channel. Like this is me changing the channel, but don't say I'm changing the channel. It's like, what am I doing by the TV? No, definitely not changing the channel. No. What's that over there? It's just wow.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Rick Bell, we will get our income tax cut soon. The tax cut Premier Danielle Smith promised us. Start spreading the news. Read all about it. The tax cut. Last month, the Scribbler asked about the tax cut. It was not pleasant. After all, Premier Danielle Smith's social media is like a machine churning out how the provincial government books are so good, how the economy is so good, how Alberta is so booming. Literally in Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
The thing. Pardon me if many of us aren't feeling the boom. We're not feeling anything trickling down to us. Many of us want the tax cut Smith promised. Some of us really need the tax cut. And until now, what we have been told is to wait. Wait until 2026 for half the tax cut and 2027 for the other half. Oh, geez. I wonder what motivated her to get on that all of a sudden.
I would gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today.
Please, I want to keep my job. That's one of the reasons I'm having trouble believing the overcome with emotion. If she had waited a couple of weeks before dropping this bomb, but it's like literally, the town just went boom. I just had a press conference. Hey, that tax cut is coming.
Yeah.
Girl. Oh, no.
I don't believe your crocodile tears.
That's a little too. That's like being on that first date. You know those skits that you see, and this guy sitting at the table, and it's like, "Hi, thank you for joining me. It's really nice to meet you." And it's like, "Oh my God!" It's like, "Did you see this? I already draw pictures of us like this, and I inserted Photoshop some kids in the picture."
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Right. It's like
the crazy. Yeah, I know. We've all met her. We've all met her.
And him.
Well, oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, I assume so, but I didn't want to be presumptuous because it's not my area of expertise.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Oh yes.
It stands to reason. I mean, if one gender is going to be that way, why wouldn't there be something from the opposite gender, right? I mean,
absolutely. No. It happened. We get stage 5 clingers too.
Oh, I believe that.
Oh yes. That's a universal thing. Trust me. Same thing with the toilet seat.
Well,
you think if two guys are living together, you don't have the toilet seat issue. Be at our house at 3 a.m.
My issue is the toilet lid. The seat's not an issue. I'm like, you need to put the lid down, babe. Otherwise, the dog will drink out of the toilet when we're not looking. And I don't want the dog drinking from the toilet because,
So, getting back to Rick Bell. But the tax cut was Smith's first promise in the last election campaign, where she talked about the cost of living and affordability and how a tax cut would mean $760 a year for an individual and $1,500 plus for a family. If Smith couldn't make it happen, she shouldn't have promised it. Mm-hmm. Or she should have said we'd only get the tax cut if the planets aligned. Alas, that's not as sexy a kickoff to an election campaign. But the story doesn't end there. This week, as the Premier discussed some tough topics, including answering questions pitched in my last column, Smith revealed some good news. There will be a tax cut coming sooner than we had initially expected, says the Premier. Smith says she had to make sure the tax cut wouldn't send the provincial government's finances into the red, into deficit. Of course, she couldn't have done that before the budget, right? Which I think was like April, May. So she, at the time, she said that the tax cut was in the first half was coming in 2026 and the next one was coming in 2027. Well, it turns out, she only needed 3 more months to do a little more math and figured out, hey, I could do it after all. Oh. How convenient. Smith says the tax cut is, quote, substantial. It's $1.4 billion. Of course, Smith knew the cost of the tax cut. The Premier explains how her budget boss, Nate Horner, quote, was worried about what we would experience in this budget. Horner crunched the numbers and popped up a very small surplus, not as big as the cost of the tax cut. Smith says her government wanted to make sure they had enough cash coming to bankroll the tax cut. Now Smith speaks of a surge in dollars coming into the government treasure chest from personal income taxes. Because he didn't cut them. Then there's all those dollars from the oil patch, and with companies paying off their capital costs, they pay a higher rate of royalties to the province. The Premier also says there will be a lot of effort in the fall to cut wasteful spending. Dun, dun, dun. So the tax cut can be delivered. In other words, I'm going to cut some services and citizen protections a whole lot faster and a whole lot sharper than I was going to in order to be able to do that now, because I need to bail my ass out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Jeez. Souls in the government believe there could be an announcement of the tax cut in the fall and could be felt on paychecks this coming year. The next provincial budget is expected in February. Will we see the full tax cut, or will it be the half tax cut in 2025 and the half tax cut in 2026? That decision has apparently not been made, but Smith sounds like she would pay out the promise in full. If we can do it all at once, we'd love to be able to do that. On the other hand, the sight of the roller coaster of an up and down Alberta economy seems to flash before our eyes. Quote, I don't think anybody wants to be in the situation we've been in historically, where we spend every single last penny of the windfall revenues that come in, and when the numbers don't pan out, the next year now you're running $5 billion, $6 billion, and $10 billion deficits. Especially when oil's at $140 a barrel. I remember that. They couldn't balance a budget with $140 a barrel oil.
Hey, Justin. Hi. Hope you're doing well in Australia. No, Canada's not broken at all, my friend. No. And if you want, you can join us on the chat here. I'll put the link right there. You can join the chat on the YouTube channel, sir. And there's a great collection of individuals from across Canada who join us each and every morning. We'll give you some insight into how the country's doing.
And we have Aussie Pete every now and then who joins us.
And Aussie Pete, that's right.
Who designs our graphics. So you would not be alone.
No,
I don't think he's here this morning, but you would not be alone.
So if you're on your phone, just type in youtube.com/@True North Eager Beaver Media, and that will take you directly to our YouTube channel where you can join in the chat. Or if you're watching on a screen, you can scan the YouTube QR code right next to my balded head.
There we go. Yeah. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge.
Welcome.
There's also the political reality, as we all know, that politics is a blood sport. In November, UCP members will vote on Smith's leadership. The turnout to the party Gabfest in Red Deer is expected to be big, and the tax cut is just one item on a laundry list of complaints. Nate Horner, Smith's budget boss, insists he wants to bring the tax cut forward and says Smith is pressing on him to make it happen. Horner adds he wants, quote, to deliver it as quickly as possible. He wants to, quote, expedite the process. We're going to make sure we can walk and chew gum. We're going to do it while not borrowing to do it. We can do it and balance the budget if we do it smart. So, Alberta, you are about to be at the receiving end of what we call in French of une grande séduction. A grand seduction.
The statement from Linda is something that a lot of people in Alberta have actually said, we could fix a lot of problems if we had a provincial sales tax. You've got people who are fighting that tooth and nail, but there's a lot of people going like, we need to fund some programs, and this is a way to do it.
Think about it. If since Ralph Klein's day,
Mhm.
Alberta had just a 2 or 3% provincial sales tax and just took that money and had salted it away in the Heritage Fund.
Yeah.
Instead of zero.
Instead of zero.
Zero. What type of government says it costs us nothing to run our... We'll do it strictly off royalties and federal transfers.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Well, and you know, the funny thing is, so let's look at a slightly broader image here, if you will. So there's no provincial sales tax. They do have GST. We have HST in Ontario, which is the harmonized sales tax between PST and GST. Yep. It's 13%, 8% provincial, 5% GST.
Yep.
In Alberta, what I noticed, little things, going for coffee was exponentially more expensive than it is here in Ontario. Going to the privately run liquor and beer stores, exponentially more expensive for beer. I mean, like, so I oftentimes will stop at the liquor store up the street on the way home. Well, not that I'm working there anymore, and I'd pick up like maybe a couple of cans of Tatra, which is a Polish beer, or Pilsner Urquell, which is a Czech Pilsner, which is the original Pilsner, by the way, and maybe a Lowenbrau or something like this. Just a couple of beer at the end of the day. And the pricing I noticed in Alberta was, I'm not kidding when I say this, $1.50 to $2 more per can of beer.
Jeez.
I was shocked. I was like, good Lord. Funny thing is, you go to a pub and it's cheaper. Mostly because most places are only selling 16 ounce instead of 20 ounce pints. But the places that do sell the 20 ounce pints, it was still cheaper than it is here in Ontario. So I'm a little confused by this. Is it because it's the private for-profit not putting money back into the province run liquor stores, maybe, that they're gouging? Just a thought. Just a thought. Because they're trying to privatize liquor sales here in Ontario under Doug Ford, right, where he puts the money into his friend's pocket, Galen Weston, one of them, amongst others, and Couche-Tard, which owns Circle K. Couche-Tard des Alimentations, which is part of the Provigo chain, I believe, if memory serves. Mm-hmm. Who sits on that board? Oh, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, mm-hmm, who stands to benefit from private liquor sales in the province of Ontario, Canada's most populous province, over 16 million of us. And it's been proven in Alberta. It has been proven in Alberta with 20 years of stats to show that the privatization did not save consumers money. Pricing has gone up across the board. Profits have increased across the board. Why? They say, well, you know, when it was the LCBO, there's no competition. And in many cases, LCBO prices are not cheap. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. They're not cheap. Yeah. But there are benefits attached to that where they put about $2.5 billion into the Ontario economy every year.
Right.
And they're union-paid jobs.
Right.
Whereas the private for-profit, most of the jobs are part-time minimum wage employees.
Right.
So they have to hold 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. Or in some cases, like me, who works 80 hours a week, trying to increase my income because my day job doesn't pay me enough. And I know lots of people who do that. Yeah. Work a full-time, good-paying job, but it's not enough to make ends meet. And get money saved and put money into your RSP, and hopefully someday you can retire and not have to work till you're 95. So people work 80 hours a week to make ends meet. And again, I'll go back to when the private industry comes in and takes over a former public industry, its motivation, its sole motivation is profit, which, fine, I don't have an issue with that, but it's not benefiting the public. It is hurting the public.
If you have a thing that's sole motivation is profit, it needs the French encadré. It needs boundaries. Mm-hmm. It needs to know this is okay, fine, make your profit, but this is the sandbox in which you can play, and here are the limits of the sandbox, and you need to remain within them.
Yes.
Right? That we can do. We're not doing that enough. So yeah, all of this is happening, and then of course we have the old, again, stay in your lane thing where somebody, says, Alberta, we want nothing to do with Trudeau and the federal government. Alberta in a crisis. Why isn't the federal government doing something? Why isn't Trudeau and the federal government doing something? So
Where's the military? I thought
yeah.
you guys wanted to separate.
Yeah.
Isn't-
And then and then Dean says, like, to be fair, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, New Brunswick, and the CPC do the exact same thing. Wreck shit, point fingers at Ottawa, beg for help,
Yes.
rinse, repeat. And that's the thing here. And because Ottawa always answers the call,
Mhm.
premiers never fix the damn underlying problem.
No.
And end up doing less and less and less. Hey, we cut last time and Ottawa helped and bail us out, so let's cut again. Let's cut again. Yes. So basically, let's just upload this responsibility to Ottawa. We're not going to fund it properly here. Same thing happened with colleges and universities. Didn't want to fund them,
Mhm.
so they uploaded the problem to Ottawa. Says, well, we need foreign students because they pay more. That
Yeah.
will fund our colleges through foreign students. So let in the immigration. Let's change the immigration things. Let them more in. Federal government gives the provinces what they want. All of a sudden, they're housing other issues. You let in too many damn. You asked us to.
Yeah. Don't
Because
get mad
you
at me
wouldn't
when I
fund
give you
the
what
college.
you want.
You wouldn't fund the colleges and universities properly. So, like this, you wanted to use a volatile source of income rather than core funding to fund it.
Mhm.
You know, and again, the two things that a government must absolutely do is make sure that their people are educated and
Mhm.
are healthy. If you want a good economy, you need a workforce that's smart enough, that has the knowledge to do the job, and that has the physical ability to do the job. There's
know,
two, and education and health are the two core constitutional. They have others like this, but the two core ones, the two that they absolutely must, absolutely should be doing.
Mhm.
They should be cutting from anywhere else first to make sure that they're doing those two. And they're not doing that. They're cutting from that to do a whole bunch of other things instead. And then Ottawa comes back and they go to the first minister. We need more money for health. And then Ottawa does it. Like this, we need more money for firefighting. What's that? What'd you do with that money last time? Cheeseburgers. Can I have some more?
Mhm.
Listen, freaking strings attached.
You know,
Why be responsible when daddy federal government will always both save the
Bail us
day
out.
and pick up the bill?
yeah,
We need a new arrangement. Strings attached.
it's got to be that way because I'm tired of this shit. I've had people approach me recently and ask me, why don't I, run for office? And I'm like, well, because number one, I like having a private life. Sure, I'm somewhat of a public figure, but
We just, the prime minister thing.
but I still have a private life. I can still go unfettered wherever I want. Number one. Number two, I don't want to live under a microscope. Number three, every sin I've committed in my past will be under that microscope. And come on, we were all young and dumb and full of energy at one point in time. You know where I was going with that.
I remember the club days. There was a song titled that too.
Yes. Well, and those are one of the things. Like I've made mistakes in the past, and as I've gotten older, I've learned from them, and I've tried to do better. When you know better, you do better. But also the thing is this: I would not be successful in politics because I will not play their dirty games. And guess what? If you want to send to a level where you can actually make a big difference, you got to play the dirty games. You got to make deals with people that you wouldn't want to be in the same room with. And you have to do it because that's how politics works. And I'm sorry, it's just no. And you're right, Mohan. The Trudeau vacation speech rings true. I think he scored a lot of points with a lot of Canadians that day.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Maybe even Lachlan, because Lachlan has said for the longest time, he's worried that this current climate that we have towards politicians and how destructive the media is towards them. He says, we're not going to get good people into the positions we need them to be in because they just don't want to go through it. They don't want to live like that. And I'm like, I know. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, by this right here. Let's just watch this.
Okay, we didn't want to show any of it, but then and I didn't watch the whole thing because I do not want to give Kean that satisfaction. But this clip came out
from her friend Clinton.
I guess.
Defoe. Thank you, Clinton.
And this is a little eye opening.
Yes, watch this. If you have not seen this, have a look at this.
you trying to?
Now we've got a lot of questions.
Sure.
I guess my last question is, do you believe that good people should be stepping up in politics for all different parties?
I think that good people should be elected to office for sure. I think that that's an important thing.
Do you realize that one of the challenges we have right now is good people are looking at the costs of being in politics, being in public life, costs on family, costs on all sorts of different levels, and wondering whether or not it's worth it?
Are you calling yourself a good person here?
No, I am saying that my job right now is to try and encourage people to step up into politics, and that's part of what I'm doing. And a lot of people look at the aggressiveness of tracking someone down and challenging them on vacation while they're on the beach trying to spend some time with their 10-year-old son, who I'm going to have to go try and explain that to. A lot of people will say, wow, I don't know that they'd want to sign up for this. And one of the challenges we have in a democracy is we need to make sure that good people from all different parties step up and not get their private time turned into public time. My son was just out there in the water, splashing around, and he came to see me because he was so excited that I came out to see him, and he instead saw me, giving an interview, being Prime Minister again, and right now he just wants me to be my dad, and I'm trying to give him a little bit of that right now. What concerns me is I can't bring my kids away with me on vacation without having that vacation interrupted and having private times at 6 o'clock in the evening on a beautiful night in a beautiful Canadian beach.
I appreciate that you want to spend time with your family. It is a great story, but the issue is
It's a story. It's a story.
It's a great narrative for sure.
It's a great.
But at the end of the day, Justin,
do you have any kids?
You were the
do you have any
prime.
kids?
No, I don't. At the end of the day,
Okay.
at the end of the day, Justin, you were the Prime Minister.
Yes. So I'm not allowed to have a vacation with my kids.
So that, my friends, is how it's done.
Yeah. So somewhere along the way, it became some type of conversation. Prime Minister actually got to ask some questions of his own.
Which I thought was interesting. He says, let me ask you this question. I'm like, wasn't the other guy supposed to be there?
Yeah. So some kind of Jedi trick happened somewhere along the way there. But this guy being told, first of all, that we need to be able to attract good people and basically being educated that this type of behavior like this. And all that he understands from that is, wait a minute, are you trying to say that you're a good person? Because he was going to go down that path, right? All of that. That's what he chooses to retain.
Yes, and that's what he'll try and spin it that way.
Then the whole thing, because I'm here with my kid. Like as soon as he says it, you see his hand go, no. And then it's like, that's a nice story. So, because you do not say someone's child is a narrative.
Exactly.
Now, this is kid Bexty, okay? And he's a shit gibbon. But he, I'm not going to say like accused of wanting to cause violence to the Prime Minister or whatnot. But if this person that had tracked that plane and came down, whatnot, had some violent intentions, right now, police protective services, personal protective services, like went away and kept the son. So the police protective the personal protective services are protecting the son. Who's protecting the Prime Minister?
Oh, he had guys behind him. Yeah, they were behind him.
Okay.
Over there. Yeah, no, they were present. They're
Okay.
never, they're out of camera, but
they get divided.
Yeah. Yeah.
The team gets divided.
Mhm.
Yes. Kian is not a security risk. But somebody can see that and decide, hey, that's how we do it. That person could be a security risk.
Yeah. The next person.
This is why you don't do this stuff, right? And then I'm sitting there and it's like, this guy did this whole thing with the intent to try to make the Prime Minister look bad.
Mhm.
And all he did, literally, was make him more sympathetic.
Yes.
At this particular time, when the Prime Minister's in the dumps and nobody likes him and nobody wants to hear him like this, again, number one rule, when your enemy, in this case, the enemy of the right is the Prime Minister,
Mhm.
is imploding, his poll numbers are not going and not doing well, stand back and watch it happen. But no, he had to show up and see the Prime Minister by the ledge and try to give him a push. And I went and got boom. it went boom in his face.
And I've heard from a lot of people across the country
A
who
lot of people.
do not
Norm
like Trudeau.
Spector.
Yeah, people who hate him, hate Trudeau, are like, you crossed the line, pal. He's
Norm
with
Spector.
his son, his 10-year-old son. Norm Spector's an asshole.
And he was even saying, let the guy have a vacation with
Yeah.
his kids. Okay. And the thing is that he doesn't even realize it yet, which is the scary part. Is
Kean thinks he won something here.
yes, he thinks this makes him look good. And the perfect example of this is that someone named Stephanie Smythe invited him to be on her show, and he came on it.
Mhm.
And I guess I didn't make any attempt to listen to her show before or something, because he put out he put out a thread tweet going, I had the misfortune of speaking with Stephanie Smythe, a government hack who works for a company trading for 10 cents a share. She viciously attacked the counter signal when I graciously agreed to go on her failing show. They refused to publish it online, so here it is. That sounds a little Trumpy.
You think?
Yes. I can't believe the New York Times wrote that about me after I graced them with an interview, the failing New York Times. Her failing show, that only trade company only trading 10 cents a share. He posted this himself. He thinks that this makes him look good. What it is that you're going to hear.
I can't show this tweet because I'm. You can show it from your end. I can't show it because he's blocked me.
Oh, darn. Well, no, because it's the audio, and my audio doesn't go off.
Well, I can't even show it because I'm blocked by Kean. Kean
crap.
blocked me. I think he got upset about the too many times I called him a Nazi Caillou, because, well, and people go, you're using that word a little too flippantly. I'm like, he had a store online that sold Rhodesian and apartheid merch. He's a Nazi. He is an actual Nazi. Period. You don't like me saying it? I don't give a shit. Call a spade a spade. He's a Nazi.
All right.
He always has been.
I'll put on the volume, and maybe you'll hear it.
I'll give it a try.
Okay. Let me know if you do. Hold on a second.
If you look at the settings, let's see.
The audio settings?
When you go to share, when you hit share,
Yeah.
if you look at that, so click the share screen, it pops up and you've got tab, window, or entire screen. And if you look at the bottom, it says also share tab audio.
Okay.
And turn that on. Then that should work.
All right.
You see that?
To share audio tab, to share audio, share a tab or screen. It's okay. Yeah.
So go to the tab, and then it says also share tab audio at the bottom of that window that you just opened when you go to share.
Okay, hold on. I'll go to the bottom of it. No, I actually don't have that.
So click on the share screen again. Close that window. Click on the share screen. And it says choose what to share with studiorestream.io. Correct?
Yes.
See that? Then it says
There
tab, window, or
Yes,
screen,
it's on.
and down at the bottom. Okay, let's give
it's
this a go then.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and share it.
I was in the wrong window there. All right.
That happens.
So let's see if it plays.
Just blow up the whole. Yeah, just blow the whole thing.
Oh, I mean,
no,
you don't have to
I mean
see
the
it.
window. Just go full screen. No, full screen.
You don't have to see it. You have to hear it.
Oh, okay. I don't hear anything.
Audio?
No, it's not working.
No audio?
No audio.
No. See, I don't know why it doesn't go through. All right. But basically, the clip starts right, like, so listen, Sandra.
It looks like your audio is not turned on from this end.
From your end?
Yeah. For the video,
okay.
there's no audio turned on for it.
Yeah. I don't know how to. It's
So
been a constant thing.
So close the share screen, and then reopen the share screen down at the bottom, right next to the camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, it says tab, window, entire screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if you go to tab,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have all your tabs will show up.
Yep.
And
Okay.
if you go below the tabs, you'll see also share tab audio.
Yep.
Turn that on.
That's on.
Okay. And you need to make sure that it plays through Unify.
right. And
Sorry, we're giving everybody a lesson here.
Stream, headphone, chat, recording, or monitor?
Monitor.
Monitor. Okay.
Slight
Set on
text.
stream.
Okay, let's
All
try
right.
it now.
Let's try it that way.
If it works, great, and if it doesn't, we'll figure it out later. But go ahead and share it, and we'll see if we can make this work. Because I can't show it because I'm blocked by.
I can't hear you.
Okay, flip it back. Switch it back. I got to send him a note. Hang on. Yeah, there's no audio. It's not going to work.
Okay. All right. Never mind then. But her name is Stephanie Smythe, and in this clip, she starts off and goes, Sandra. Go, it's Stephanie. So that's how it starts up. And it just goes downhill from there. But here, instead, just if you could put the link that I sent in the chat, and kids can go hear it for themselves, at least. But yeah, he but there's no point in talking about it anymore because I can't play it for you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, this has been a thing for months now. For some reason, I can only share the video, but images, but not audio.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
All
It's
right.
probably not playing through Unify, so we'll have to figure that out later.
Okay.
There's a setting in your computer somewhere.
Okay. So anyway, that's him, and that's that thing. The last bit of news that I have for you today has to do with the Olympics. Oh, and by the way, thank you to Kit T. Wigmore again for the comment when we were talking about Danielle Smith. Really enjoying your compassion-based analysis here. This is the essence of being Canadian, in my opinion, not political sniping. So,
thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time to say that, because it's one of the things that we try to make a conscious effort to do. And I'm sorry if Edith Betty in the chat has said things to me that I've since then that I've missed. Apparently, my chat was not scrolling, so anything that you've said over the last 25 minutes, I've not yet seen.
That happens sometimes. You have to scroll it down. There's funny things with Restream. Before we go to the Olympics, I want to show you a thing from Polling Canada that was released yesterday, which I think you'll get a kick out of when you look at this. Fox News, Rebel Media, and the Beaverton ranked the 3 least trusted sources of news in Canada. The Beaverton is a satirical news website, a la the.
Yes, I know. I'm saying, like, Beaverton shouldn't even be in the list to start with. So I'm sitting there, I'm saying, you put Beaverton in the list just to fuck with people, didn't you?
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking, right? Because it's not a.
But the Beaverton is still trusted more than Rebel and Fox.
That's funny.
Now, if you put that back up, though, look at what the top 3 are.
Yeah. Okay. Just give me a second. Yeah, the top 3 I think are pretty interesting.
And what are the percentages?
So first off, the Weather Network is number 1. It's 71%. Number 2 is CBC at 67%. Number 3 is CTV at 62%. And number 4 is Global News at 59%. And then the BBC at 49%, which is odd because the BBC is kind of like, for decades, been the broadcaster of truth.
Right. So yeah. Number 2 is what again?
CBC.
And at what percentage?
67%.
So 2/3 of the country trust CBC.
Yeah.
Huh. I think I understand why it is that Pierre Poilievre wants to get rid of it.
Yeah.
However, getting rid of an institution that 2/3 of the country thinks is trustworthy, not sure.
Well, it
that's
doesn't play
the political
well
winner that he thinks that it is.
No, doesn't play well in their favor at all.
And it's not playing well in French because Pipi spent some time in Quebec, and his rallies were protested. That didn't make much news in English Canada, and in Quebec, because there's not much love for him, they keep on repeatedly pointing out what I keep on saying, the deux langues du discours, that he keeps on saying in English that he's going to cut the CBC, but he never says it in French. And if there's one way that you can guarantee to lose Quebec in an election, is being accused of having 2 different discourses in 2 different languages. de langue du discours.
This is the latest from the Beaverton. We're coming for you, the Weather Network. Thanks, Saucy, for that.
All right, Olympics. Oh boy. So it was yay Olympics, and then oh god, drone thing, and then yay. It seems to be that it was an isolated incident. It was the video analyst and the assistant coach that he was working under got sent home too, but she didn't know about it. And then Coach Beth Priestman didn't know about it, but certainly did not recommend it and had stepped away from that match. And the New Zealand chef de mission of the Olympic Committee said, "Oh my God, yeah, it's like Canadians felt terrible about it. It was really embarrassing for them." And then the match happened, and New Zealand scored first within the first 13 minutes. And you're thinking, well, there's some karma for you. But our team regrouped and rallied and had two very good goals, one in stoppage time in the first half, and then the second one, a super, super sweet slice kick from beyond midfield.
It was beautiful.
By Captain Jesse Fleming that cut through absolutely everybody. And the best way, I don't know what the term is in soccer if you use it, but it was like in hockey, there was a breakaway, pretty much, and went off Evelyn Vien's foot, who also had another great shot with 3 minutes in the final stoppage time. For a 2-1 win. So with, okay, yay, distraction handled. Okay, we can move on. And then we heard stories about like a bus breaking down in the Canadian skateboard team. What do? Well, you grab your boards and you skateboard the 2 kilometers back like this, good happy moments, whatnot, and all that kind of stuff. By the way, bonus points to CBC sportscaster Shireen Ahmad, I believe, who after the match was sitting there and says, well, listen, I don't want to drone on about this. Some people may think that's too soon, but I have a cheeky sense of humor, so I thought it was great.
Somebody will definitely dump on her because she's a woman of color wearing a hijab. So you know that's going to happen.
The first?
Yeah, but I mean, that was a brilliant insight on her part, I thought.
Well, unfortunately, we woke up to a couple. Well, we didn't woke up yesterday. We heard stuff, but there's been more news, and it seems that the coach, Bev Priestman, has been sent home.
Oh,
for the rest of the games.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I'm just learning this now.
It seems that it was Rich Westlake, is it? From TSN. He broke a story. Greg Westlake from TSN broke the story, and how I heard about it coming is that I think it was Misahat Ahmad that had mentioned Greg Westlake is a good reporter. Like this, if he's saying it, like this, I essentially vouching for him, like standing up.
Right.
Because there was a lot of people that were dumping on him for having reported it. And it seems that he has discovered that the using the drone thing is not a one-time thing.
Oh, well, that's...
and not a two-time thing.
That's not good.
So, according to him, Canada Soccer has suspended its women's national team head coach for the remainder of the games amid a drone spying scandal. The Canadian Olympic Committee added in a statement released shortly before 1:30 a.m. local time that assistant Andy Spence will lead the defending gold medalists for the remainder of the tournament. Priestman denied any involvement, but didn't attend Thursday's 2-1 victory over New Zealand. TSN senior correspondent Rick Westhood reported Thursday evening that according to sources, coaching staff and contractors working with Canada's men's and women's national soccer teams have been engaged for years in efforts to film the closed-door training sessions of their opponents, including during the women's gold medal-winning Olympic tournament in 2021.
Oh, that's greasy. I don't care for this one bit.
Canada Soccer CEO and General Secretary Kevin Blues said in the Canadian Olympic Committee release announcing Priestman's removal that, quote, additional information has come to our attention regarding previous drone use against opponents predating the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. He added Priestman is suspended from her duties until the end of the tournament and the completion of the organization's independent external review. Things started to unravel for Canada when New Zealand's Olympic Committee complained to the IOC's integrity unit after it said drones were flown over a pair of pre-tournament practice sessions this week. The COC said Wednesday that assistant coach Jasmine Mander and analyst Joseph Lombardi were sent home immediately and that it had accepted Priestman's decision to remove herself from coaching the opening match.
Wow.
Priestman says, my reaction was you feel like this program has let the country down, Priestman said. That's why I took the proactive step to do what I felt was the right thing. Irrespective of the details, I'm ultimately accountable. Now, there is more, unfortunately. Lombardi... Whoops. There's one of these things when you open a new screen that sometimes the video that automatically pops up and plays sound.
Yeah, I know, that's annoying.
So this was annoying. So it threw me. It says that staff and contractors connected to the men's national team have also filmed the closed training sessions of competitors, one of the sources told TSN, adding that Canada used a drone to record a U.S. training session before November 15th, 2019 game in Florida. The U.S. won that game 4-1. 2 years later, Honduras stopped a training session in Toronto during World Cup qualifiers after someone spotted a drone overhead. Like you mentioned yesterday, right? Just everybody suspected at the time it was just somebody from the city or whatnot, flying. Like, hey, it's Team Honduras, let's film them. Let's get some images. But no. Back at the time, I think it was men's coach, John Herdman, said, I'd imagine there's probably a lot of people in Canada that fly drones. And when a big team like Honduras turns up, I'm sure people are probably interested in what they're doing when they come into our country. So I know for sure we won't be heading into people's countries too early, because with drones these days, people can obviously capture footage. You've got to be really careful. So yeah, you've got to be careful in CONCACAF. It's a tricky place. Now, some staff contractors were told that filming was part of their job and that they could lose their positions with the Federation if they did not go through with the demands.
Ooh.
Sources said in a series of interviews. Yeah. Quote,
wow.
In a couple of scenarios, people have been pushed and have been told, you've got to give 110%, and this is part of the job. So if you don't feel comfortable with doing this, you do not have a place on the team, the source said. It's not something that's talked about, and it's not something that there are a lot of text messages about because of how sensitive this is. But some of the people who've had to do the filming or review the filming have said to a few staff members how uncomfortable it was for them. Both sources asked for anonymity because they said they were afraid the Federation would retaliate against them. It's unclear whether any players were aware of the strategy to record practices. One of the sources said the spying including a Team Canada coach filming 2 of Japan's closed-door training sessions during the 2021 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. Canada tied Japan 1-1 in its first game during those Olympics. Quote, it was a bit tricky during that time given the fact that we were under a lot more restrictions, but there were ways to kind of sneak out of the hotel without people knowing, the source told TSN. In Tokyo, a lot of the facilities were a little bit more open, so in some cases you could see from behind bushes or behind fences or behind trees. It wasn't that complicated because they didn't have big mesh walls, so as long as you were close enough to the facility, you're able to see if you're not in a hidden location. The source said they weren't aware of spying occurred in other games during those Olympics. 2 years after those Tokyo Olympics, a Canada soccer contractor who was scheduled to travel to Australia for the 2023 World Cup was told their responsibilities would include trying to record training sessions of opposing teams. When the contractor said they wouldn't agree to do that, their trip was cancelled, and a Canada soccer staff member flew there in their place to do the recording, said the source said.
This taints the gold medal they won in Tokyo.
Yep.
That they fought damn hard to do. This taints it.
Yep.
In the worst possible way.
Yep. TSN has reviewed text message correspondence of a women's national team coach discussing secret filming of their opponents' training sessions ahead of games in 2022 against Costa Rica, South Korea, and Trinidad. One of the sources of the strategy for filming opposing teams' practices in Canada was relatively easy because Canada soccer staff knew they were practicing and what hotels they were staying in. Quote, when you're abroad, it requires a little more research. When you are in CONCACAF events, you do have the ability of finding out where the rest of the teams are training because CONCACAF, FIFA, and the Olympics, they all publish where the teams are training in one way or another. You also know just by looking at the social medias from other teams and seeing what pictures they're posting. Both sources says there's a lot to be learned from filming an opponent's practice. You get to know their formations, their starting lineup, one of the sources said. You also look at who's taking a penalty kick and their set pieces. Most people see this as cheating, which it is, one of the sources said. Some of our coaches just see it as a competitive advantage and justify it by saying everyone does it, which is also not true. Not everyone cheats, and neither should we. In an interview on Wednesday, Priestman did not answer directly when she was asked if she was aware of the drone filming. Quote, on behalf of our entire team, I first and foremost want to apologize to the players and staff at New Zealand Football and to the players on Team Canada. This does not represent the values that our team stands for. I'm ultimately responsible for the conduct in our program, accordingly to emphasize our team's commitment to integrity. She was trust of all attendants in the match, blah, blah, blah. Both FIFA and Canada Soccer announced investigations to the allegations of spying on Wednesday. Canada Soccer said its investigations would be conducted by an independent third party and would focus on the drone incident in France and more broadly, the historical ethical practices of both the men's and women's national team programs. The investigation findings will be made public, Canada Soccer said. And when they're talking about the text between the coaches, it was the coach that was sent home who apparently said that she didn't know what was going on. And well, apparently the texts do show that she did know what was going on.
Oh, Bev Priestman, your days are done.
No, not Bev.
Oh, no, not
the
Bev?
Assistant coach that was sent. The video analyst and the assistant coach, one of the assistant coaches, Jacqueline Mondor, I think her name was sent back. And she was the one that said, it's like, well, no, it was all him. I didn't know anything about it. Well, turns out the text messages show that she did indeed.
So Bev Priestman didn't know about this thing.
That we don't know. Like this, she says she doesn't, but there's no evidence to say that she does.
Right.
But of the two people that were sent back, one of them denied having any knowledge, and those text messages prove that she did.
Right. Okay.
The wording in that one was because it said one of the coaches or something, and it's like it's there's only one coach, and then there are like 2 or 3 assistant coaches. So yeah, that is not great. And then on Devin's page today, you know that expression "out of the frying pan into the bonbon box"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or out of the frying pan into the fire.
Mm-hmm. I know what you were trying to say.
It's the Scotties first day,
Mm-hmm.
the Brianne Harris thing,
Mm-hmm.
Olympics first day, Canada Soccer thing.
You got to wonder if the team could be just kicked out of the tournament because of this.
I think it could be, or go through the whole tournament and the medals could be revoked.
They could lose their gold medal.
Maybe
they're renovating in my building.
Yeah, that might happen too. But the other thing, apparently, 2 hours ago, Devin Heroux, arson attacks in France have halted travel to Paris from the rest of the country and across Europe hours ahead of the opening ceremony. Reports indicate that over 800,000 travelers have been affected by 10 a.m. So somebody's trying to make a statement here. French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal said that attackers who struck early Friday hours before the opening ceremony of the 2024 Paris Olympics, quote, had a clear objective to block the country's high-speed train network. Attal said the vandals strategically targeted main routes from the northeast-west towards Paris. He said there will be massive consequences with hundreds of thousands of people stuck while trying to visit Paris for the games or vacation. Transport Minister Patrice Vergriet earlier described people fleeing from the scene of fires and the discovery of incendiary devices. There were no known reports of injuries. It was a, quote, premeditated, calculated, coordinated attack that indicates, quote, a desire to seriously harm the French people, French National Rail Company, SNCF, CEO Jean-Pierre Farandou said. The places were specially chosen to have the most serious impact since each fire cut off 2 lines. The attack occurred against a backdrop of global tensions and heightened security measures as the city prepared for the 2024 Olympic Games. Many travelers were planning to converge on the capital for the opening ceremony, and many vacationers were also in transit. While officials responded to the high rail network incidents, flights were temporarily suspended, and at the airport at Basel Mulhouse near the Swiss border was evacuated on Friday due to a bomb alert. An air traffic controller at the airport told Reuters it was the 7th alert since October, and it led to the cancellation of an Air France flight to Paris. By midday, the airport resumed normal operations. As Paris authorities geared up for a spectacular parade on and along the Seine River amid tightened security, the rail fires were reported near tracks on the high-speed lines of Atlantique Nord and Est. The disruptions particularly affected Paris's major Montparnasse station. Videos posted on social networks showed the hall of the station saturated with travelers. The Paris Police Prefecture concentrated its personnel in Parisian train stations after the massive attack that paralyzed TGV high-speed network. Laurent Nunez, the Paris police chief, told France Info Television. Some 7,000 Olympic athletes are due to sail down the Seine past iconic Parisian monuments such as Notre Dame Cathedral, the Louvre Museum, and the Musée d'Orsay in the Friday evening opening ceremony. And apparently at the equestrian events, Versailles has somehow been integrated.
Sorry, we're going to have to cut this short.
Yep.
You can hear the noise. They're
Yep.
renovating upstairs. It's freaking the dog out. I got to take her outside.
Yeah. So, all of that to say that it's not going to be just about the sport, I think, this year.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Kids and Cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love listening to you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do. If you would like to support us, please go to our pod page, which you can do thanks to the Ray Girl, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words, or you can scan that QR code. And when you do, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it will come directly to you. If you would like to help us in other ways, surf on down to the True North Eager. I got Olympics in Canada on my mind. To the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where you can make like Kit Elaine and have a terrific day, or beyond terrific day, beyond awesome day even. And remember to smash that button. We have share, and subscribe. So please, sorry, I've got something stuck in my throat that's tickling me.
That happens sometimes.
And it's sorry. Like, share, and subscribe, and that helps us a lot. If you would like to support us in other ways, by, for example, contributing financially to make sure that we can keep on producing this wonderful show, then you can do that by scanning the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head. That will bring you to our coffee page, where you can buy us a cup of coffee or hot chocolate, for example. ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And if you make a little contribution there, it goes back into the show. And we really, really do appreciate all the support.
What's that coffee? ko-fi.com/ The True North Eager Beaver?
No, just Eager Beaver.
Just Eager Beaver. Letters. And
all in one word.
It's one word, Eager Beaver.
Yes, Eager Beaver, yeah.
So ko-fi.com/Eager Beaver. Because I want to put it on the screen here, so I want to make sure I get it correctly. See,
excellent.
There we are.
There we go. Oh, how cool is that? Yeah. That's very smart. I like that.
Or you can scan the QR code right
and the QR
there
code
next to my head.
So please do. We really appreciate that. Because democracy is something that you do. Watch the Olympics. It's not really good for democracy, but it's good for it's good for the inner sense of rah-rah. If you get the chance to watch the opening ceremonies, it's going to be spectacular. I mean, it's one of the first times that parts of the whole parade of athletes are going to happen outside the stadium. So, and for people who like to watch NASCAR for the crashes, well, it's going to be an open air event, so anything could happen.
Yeah. I had planned to.
Sorry.
You hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
I had planned to do some ASMR recording today. Clearly, that's not going to happen. This reduces sounds, but I don't have a soundproof booth. I mean, my God. But, well, here we are. No ASMR recording. And Lola, who never freaks out about anything, isn't freaking out. She's just trying to figure out where the sound is coming from. So I'm going to take her outside in a minute.
Yeah. Of course, by-elections, not by-elections, provincial elections. So get ready if you are in British Columbia, if you are in Saskatchewan, or if you are in New Brunswick. Either volunteer for a candidate or just volunteer with your electoral body. So make sure that they go smoothly. So from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. There's no more Olympic competition to speak of today. It's just opening ceremonies around 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then we get back to a competition in earnest tomorrow. I think broadcast starts at around 5 a.m. or something like that.
Yes.
From the CBC. So if you're one of those people who set the clock and so I'll sleep when the Olympics are over, one of those couch riders when it comes to the Olympics, then you're setting your clock to be up for 5 a.m.
Well, my dog will wake me, so it's no problem there. I have an alarm clock.
Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us?
Yes, I do, actually. If you live in Alberta, and I'm speaking specifically to Albertans right now, let Danielle Smith know how you feel about her handling of this. Let Danielle Smith know how you feel about her cutting the budget. And yes, Jason Kenney did it. And yes, Rachel Notley did it. But what Danielle Smith has done, and her ineptitude and her sheer ignorance, has cost Jasper so much. No lives were lost because thanks to the Mayor Ireland, who said, we're evacuating. We're evacuating because if we don't, people will die. So he made the right call while she said to stay in your lane, I think is what was said. I have to find it. But either way, let her know how you're feeling. Our friends in Alberta. And look, you can be anywhere from the country and write her a letter and let you know how you're feeling. But especially to our Albertan brothers and sisters, let her know how you feel about her mishandling of this, because it's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. All right, kids and cubs. Oh, I just found it.
You found it?
Yep. Roddy, or at Rod Cox, that's where I saw it. It became somebody wrote to him, making the fires in Jasper political is disgusting from both sides of the spectrum. Cut this effing shit. It became political the very day that Mayor Ireland called for the evacuation. Danielle Smith tried to stop it.
Yeah.
Then going here, Mayor of the town of Jasper, Mayor Ireland is one of the first heroes of this tragic story. Just imagine if he'd made the choice to wait a few days. He made the right choice, and every single person in town survived because of it. That's at Mike Morse, that says. So, yeah.
I haven't seen her attempt to cancel it, but...
Yeah, neither have I. And now it might have just been on a one-on-one conversation on the phone between them, and not in public.
But it's come from a lot of sources. A lot of sources have cited it, so...
But yeah, I haven't seen anything in the press yet. Oh, remember, Rod, Smith pulled his ability to declare a state of emergency because she thought it was too soon. Smith only requested help from the feds late yesterday evening. What a disaster. That was 16 hours ago. Alberta Premier blames town of Jasper for misinformation spread during wildfire. There's a CTV News article. She tried to retract it and gave him grief over his decision. So I'm going to go and find that article and read it and have it for you on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Whoa, holy crap.
Yeah, I told you.
She's got to. She got to go.
Yeah. No,
yesterday.
I told you at the top of the show. I said this is a thing. I haven't been able to substantiate it, but clearly there's a story in the CTV. So, one of the most trusted sources of news in this country after the Weather Network and CBC.
All right, Mr. Grizzly. Did I ask you for your words of wisdom already, or did I just interrupt you? I
already gave him.
Okay. So cue the cock, and yeah. And you've got an Easter egg. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button at first there. And fixed it. I say we make this our top story for Monday about what Daniel Smith tried to do to the town of Jasper and undermine the mayor.
Yeah, there's not that much in it. I just read it. There's not that much in it.
But we'll talk about it on Monday and see if we can find more info. But let's end today on a happy, smiling, positive note. Let's go into the weekend. For those of you, I'm still on vacation, of course, but for those of you who aren't and are working today and have to go to work later, let's go in on a positive note and have a look at our favorite rapper, at least my favorite rapper, Snoop Dogg.
Drop it like it's hot.
Et voilà. Un petit son de Snoop Dogg.
I got to cut that because we'll get tagged.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's pretty cool that Snoop has become a cultural icon. I remember when he first entered the game, if you will, and we thought of him as kind of a gangbanger. He never was. But he's mainstream now and has been for quite some time. Thanks to his friendship with Martha Stewart. But here we have Snoop Dogg carrying the Olympic torch in Paris and dancing to it. I think that is just awesome.
He's
and I had heard that was going to take place, so I was happy to be able to share that with you.
Now, people are wondering why, and it seems that Snoop Dogg is in Paris to help cover the games for NBC. He's part of the broadcast network thing. So, he was asked about it, and he said, I look at this as a prestigious honor and something I truly respect. I would never have dreamed of nothing like this. I'm going to be on my best behavior. I'm going to be on my best athleticism. I'll be able to breathe slow, to walk fast, and hold the torch with a smile on my face because I realize how prestigious this event is. And I remember reading an article about that, and some editorial says, well, he is used to carrying lit things. He's a natural.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. You may not be aware of this. Snoop has sponsored, he has a football league of his own in Los Angeles. And he has been sponsoring children by buying them equipment and getting them trained. And a few of the kids that he sponsored over the years have gone on to university careers, and some have made it to the NFL. He's been doing this for over 20 years. He's also a massive, massive hockey fan, for those of you who were unaware, and has been for a long time. Snoop is a sports guy. He really is. He really is.
And there you go.
All righty.
Enjoy all the sports ball this weekend.
I know I will. See ya.
Bye. Go Canada, go.